Hello and welcome back to Talk of the Townsends. I'm Benedict Townsend.
And I'm Hannah Townsend.
We also have producer Ben, who is a hero on the floor before us.
We need a proper introduction.
We do.
We now have a producer. I know we've been teasing that the podcast is coming back more frequently. Mm-hmm. And what have we done?
We've made nary an episode, but the podcast is going to be more frequent. How many episodes a week, Han?
Two. I nearly said not one, but two. And then I just said, just tell them what it is. We're going to have 2 a week.
With the help of producer Ben and a little team, we're going to have 2 episodes a week very soon.
Very soon.
Coming soon, asterisk, but it's very exciting.
It's super exciting. And we're going to have a new studio and it's going to look great. And it's going to be the same fun feel, but just a bit nicer.
It's going to be 100% less occurrences of us filming an entire podcast and then just losing all the audio or the footage.
Yes.
Should we start with a general update? How have you been?
Well, we got a new chandelier
did.
after Chandelier Gate, and we got a person who was qualified to install it this time.
We didn't get a child this time, which, top tip, is a good way to make sure it doesn't plummet to the ground.
And smash.
But you think it's too small?
It's a little bit too small for the room, and it really, every time I look at it, I feel a little bit sad and I'm trying not to think about it. It's just dimension-wise, everything else in the room is big. The TV is massive. The painting is huge. The chandelier is small. The one thing that shouldn't be small in a room is a chandelier.
Prayers up, everyone. For us, it's a hard knock life, so things are tough. But you know what? We haven't made any podcasts in a minute, but it's fine because it's not like loads of movies have come out. It's not like it's been the biggest summer of cinema of all time.
I actually think it is. I'm worried for 2027.
Really?
I am. I'm a little bit worried. I can't, no year will top this year.
It is a truly crazy summer in terms of box office. Should we just run them down? Should we just run down how big this summer has been? A little movie called The Odyssey.
Spider-Man, which is like outsold all the box office ever.
Yes, it's outsold all the box office ever. It had the biggest domestic opening weekend of all time.
I couldn't have predicted that.
It made $1 billion in like 3 days.
Crazy.
People love Spider-Man.
The Invite.
The Invite was great.
People loved The Invite.
It's nice because you've had like these franchise movies like Spider-Man that are doing big bucks, buco dinaris, but you also have like The Invite, nice original film. You had the drama. I mean, The Odyssey's not original, but it is like, you know, it's not Marvel.
I mean, Sheep Detectives, are we counting that in summer? It was earlier on in the year.
Sheep Detectives was great. And I think also did quite well.
I think so.
Made money. Bone Temple, our beloved Bone Temple.
Love it.
We've also got End of Oak Street coming out, which we can't talk about currently.
We've signed a little thing called an NDA, but we will be able to talk about it.
I'm excited to talk about that. Let me say that.
Yes. We're not saying whether we liked it or not, but we're excited to talk about it.
Yes, we are.
Should we talk about news?
Yeah. What's been happening?
Well, we've got Bambi Fury update.
Okay, I think you say movie news, but we haven't said it's child news.
As you know, we love Bambi Fury.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. We like keeping up with Molly May.
This is Molly May's child.
Molly May's child had a person. Are we guessing it's a person in a headlock?
What, you think it might be an animal or possibly
Well, it might be
alien?
another child in a headlock at a Pizza Express.
I think children are people.
Yeah, they are people.
You don't think it was an adult?
Maybe. Do you think it was an adult?
No, I think it was another child.
Who and why?
Violence. Well, she said there isn't Bambi in her violent era or something.
Bambi is in her violent era. Well, I'm going to buy Emily.
I'm going to buy Emily.
We thought we'd left those days behind, but Bambi Fury is back at large in a Pizza Express near you.
Do you think it's because she has, like, boxing genes?
Maybe, honestly.
They need to get her in a tiny ring.
Other updates, Live at the Apollo has been cancelled.
Yeah, that feels like a real end of an era. That was such a thing that you could strive towards in the British comedy scene.
Yeah.
But I think I saw a tweet from someone that was like, oh, you know, that's such a shame. I think they were talking to a comedian and they were like, it's such a shame, like, you could have got on that. And the person was like, I have been on that. And it's like, oh, right, no one was watching it anymore.
Well, that's what I think. I think, God, it's such a shame. I feel so sad they've cancelled it. Name the last time I watched Live at the Apollo.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can't name it.
There was a time where it could absolutely catapult you to, like, superstardom.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. Well, maybe, like, 20 years ago was the absolute peak of that.
Not that long ago. Just 20 years. Just 2 decades.
In my mind, 2005 is, like, 3 years ago.
Same.
But then, was anyone watching it? TV's in such a weird place.
But were they ever clipping it out?
Yeah, that could have done very well on social.
I could have imagined, like, comedy does so well on socials. I wasn't ever being fed Live at the Apollo clips.
No, because that's kind of the argument. Part of the argument why they're cancelling it is, like, they basically said, oh, comedy does so well on social media that we don't need to support it on television. I mean, this is the BBC problem of it all, when it's like public money and everything has to have like a
reason.
a capital R reason behind it. But I would argue there's still plenty of space for stand-up on TV.
I agree.
Also, like, there's comedy on social media, but like, there's not as much stand-up on social media.
It's more sketch, I would say.
People don't, to use the parlance, people don't burn their material on social media. They mostly just do fake crowd work on social media.
It feels a shame when, quite a few BBC shows have been cancelled. Celebrity Mastermind, to be specific, Live at the Apollo, and there was a third one. Wasn't there a third? Blankety Blank, thank you.
Well, I mean, the other two I don't mourn quite as much, I will say. But...
And I Kissed a Girl and I Kissed a Boy.
Well, that was sad because that was not only two good shows, but also like the only example of like a queer dating show, like a mainstream queer dating shows.
Yeah. And they got canned. So some sad TV news. Blankety blank.
And also, how will we ever know what niche knowledge the 7 or 8 celebrities that goes on those shows have?
Well, there's our chance of going on Celebrity Mastermind.
We'll never see Rob Beckett on a show again.
What would have been your specialist subject? Simpsons.
Probably would have been Simpsons, Golden Era Simpsons, or James Bond. Do you think there's certain Mastermind topics that they say you can't do anymore because they've been done too many times? Because I remember being a child and watching Mastermind and someone doing The Simpsons. And this was when I was a child. So it was like 6 years ago.
I think these days they just make it quite specific. Like I've seen like James Bond from the years 2000 to 2004. Like I've seen
Which
stuff.
would be one movie.
But I've seen stuff.
Somebody who really knows Die Another Day.
But I've seen stuff like that before, like a specific series. So like season 12 of The Simpsons. And that's it. That's all they get asked on, to maybe like variety.
Is that harder? Or if I said to you, you can either do Golden Era Simpsons or just season 5 of The Simpsons, what's harder?
Surely Golden Era, because it depends. If the questions are going to be really granular in season 5, then that's going to be harder.
But I feel like if the scope is broader, they're less likely to get granular with the questions.
Exactly.
Whereas if it's more specific, but then it's easier to revise season 5 of Simpsons.
Just watch it.
Can't come out tonight, I've got to revise my Simpsons.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to have gone on Master. I guess I could still go on regular Mastermind. Thinking a little high of myself there, actually.
That dream isn't over. Do you win money?
I don't know. I think you just win pride.
No.
I think there's a trophy in the shape of a brain.
No, it must be a cash prize.
£1 million. It was crazy when they first came out with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Because to give away £1 million
was crazy. At the time, that was so much money. It's still so much money.
Yeah, but back then in was it like 2000? £1 million in 2000 is £1 billion today.
But it's crazy that show could be broken by coughing.
I know.
Isn't that so funny that that's a crazy life-changing sum of money to win, but you've just got someone in the audience doing a little cough.
Hannah's referring to the famous alleged cheating on...
I think it was proven.
I don't know. Oh, they went to court, and I don't know...
Okay, well, maybe alleged then. Alleged.
There's a really good drama about it that we love.
Yes.
Called Quiz, I think it's called, which was the behind-the-scenes story of... I think he was a major in the army,
yes.
And he allegedly used coughing to cheat. I keep wanting to call it I'm a Celebrity.
Well, he never got the money, so what does that say to you?
Did he not get the money?
I don't think so, didn't he?
You're making a lot of assumptions about something you don't remember.
I don't think he ever got that money.
That's interesting.
So make of that what you will.
That's rough. You don't have £1 million and you have a bad cough. That's a hard life.
Well, he wasn't coughing in the chair.
It was his wife, wasn't it?
I think it was a friend.
It was his wife, the sister from Fleabag. Wasn't she in that? Oh.
I don't know.
No, that wasn't the right answer. Hannah's telling me the right answer.
Should we talk Spider-Man?
Let's talk Spider-Man. Well, I'll say it. He does whatever a spider can. And that's just my personal opinion. Spider-Man Brand New Day. What did you think?
I hate to go against the grain.
I thought you said I hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. And I hate to go against the grain. I know a lot of people like it. I thought... Act 1, Act 2, phenomenal.
Agree.
Really, really enjoyed it. Benedict and I turned to each other early on and we went, this is a brilliant 5-star movie. Glee in our eyes.
I kept thinking this phrase. I kept thinking, this has got the juice.
The cast of Glee were in our eyes. And we were so excited. But then I I'm going to say it, it was a bit messy. It was like, what if we get everyone from the Marvel Universe, throw them in for no reason? Why was the Hulk there? The Hulk didn't need to be there.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil the film. I think it's known that the Hulk is in them. It's on the poster. It did the thing where they advertised it as like, we're doing a back to basics, street level Spider-Man movie, which is what everyone wants. We're not going to do tons of Marvel stuff. And then the third act is just so much Marvel stuff. It's almost like 2 or 3 other movies happening simultaneously. And I feel bad because I gave it 3.5 on Letterboxd, which I feel a bit harsh about because there's so much that's good. Like it looks amazing. I think the fight choreography is amazing. I think it's really legible. Even when there's like big cacophonous action, you can really follow it in a way that's fun. I think Tom Holland's great. I think everyone in it is great. But I did find myself in that last act just being a bit like, wow, this feels long. Whenever you're aware of the runtime.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yes.
It's a long film.
Yes, and let's be honest, a lot of the time a superhero movie is quite formulaic. So
Yeah.
2.5 hours for a formula where we know what's going to happen, it can be quite like tedious. And I felt the runtime because also it just kept extending. I thought we got to a point where I was like, okay, we're going to wrap up, and it was like, what if there was 35 more minutes? And I was like, kind of done now. I didn't hate it. I think I gave it 3.5 too. It was, look, I didn't have a bad time. I think I was just maybe a bit tired of it by the end, which isn't how you want to feel.
I think there was also a feeling at the end of like the movie going, right, now it's time to deliver the lesson of this movie. And then being like, what is the lesson of this movie? And then delivering like 2 or 3 lessons.
Yeah.
And this is the conclusion I think we've set up. But it's like, because it had so many threads, it's like, what is this movie about?
I've heard some criticism. Is this a spoiler that they've given the villain a reason and people didn't like that?
Oh, I think it's good to justify a villain.
I don't mind a justifying of a villain either. That didn't upset me.
I'm not against when a villain is like purely evil. I think that can be fun, but I think it's more interesting to kind of humanize a villain sometimes. What people are saying that they were too justified in what they did.
Yeah, they kept giving the person reason after reason.
Well, they basically had a whole mini movie within the movie.
Yeah.
About the villain. And I was like, I thought Spider-Man was supposed to be in this movie.
There wasn't enough Zendaya, I'll say it.
Yeah.
There was nowhere near enough Zendaya in that movie.
I noticed an interesting thing. Now, this is a spoiler, so maybe skip ahead 1 minute or 2 minutes if you're going to see the movie. But I noticed there's a really fun clue to one of the twists in the movie. So, obviously, spoiler alert, in the movie, there's that bit where they're reunited and she remembers him.
Yeah.
And even in the cinema, I thought, this is a bit cheesy that she's just suddenly remembering him. But the movie is playing on the cheesiness and being like, aha, it's actually a fake out. She didn't actually remember him. It was Jean in her body, right? And there's a clue to that, which is that when they're swinging together on the way there, Zendaya's MJ is completely silent, just peacefully allowing the swinging to happen. And I remember thinking, in the previous movies, she was always really scared of the swinging and didn't like it. But that's a clue. That's a clue that it's not her.
Because it's not MJ.
It's Jean, and Jean apparently has no problem with swinging.
Apparently so.
She's like, yeah, I don't care. Anyway, I thought that was a nice little touch.
I like that.
That was almost like the peak of the movie for me. That was when I thought like everything was running on track.
I aligned.
But then there was another track, and there were 15 people tied to the other track. And then I was like, well, do I pull the lever?
What is that called?
The trolley problem.
Oh, yeah. We've done that before, haven't we?
Yeah, you kill the one person.
Was that our decision? But you are the person who's done it. As long as you don't know the one person.
The funniest conversation in the whole world is Caleb Heron and Starvey talking about that, where they talk about putting the lever and then shooting all the people. So funny. Shall we talk about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey?
Yes.
Actually, before we do that, I would like to read a quote because I think it's relevant to what you just said about Spider-Man. So Christopher Nolan was talking about what he called amateur film criticism, which I guess he's just taking a swipe at like YouTubers. He said, quote, and this sounds complicated, but it is a good point. To be able to identify the mechanism does not invalidate the mechanism. People have this idea that because I can understand why the story affects me the way it is, therefore it didn't work. The fact that the mechanism is identifiable to people doesn't invalidate it. And I think he's talking about the way that people, especially online, will like pick apart a story and be like, I saw the twist coming, or I saw this coming. And he's saying that like just because you can identify the structure of a story, that doesn't mean that's a problem with the story. If anything, that means the story is probably working as intended.
Right.
But he did have a follow-up to that, which is, he said, when a trope becomes too familiar to an audience, then it has to be changed.
Right, because a formula.
Exactly, because then it is truly boring because it's like you do know what's coming. And I do think superhero films suffer from that sometimes where it's like, all right, we've set up the villain here, we've set up the hero here. Like the villain is probably not going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's the fun thing about like Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame where it's like, oh, the villain does win. That's so cool. But yeah, this idea of like, there's film criticism where you like engage with the film, and then there's film criticism where you're pausing it and going, this extra in the background is looking at the camera. And it's like, that's not criticism.
Yeah.
That's its own thing.
Do you think we've got too used to a twist then, an audience like loving a twist versus a story that makes sense?
Yeah, I think because people see so many films and TV shows like more than ever before, and because people are so keen on like fan theories and speculation and all of that, people have become better at, well, maybe not better, but it's more frequent to speculate and analyze how stories are going to go. And I think just because people can recognize like familiar story arcs, that doesn't mean it's a bad arc, because the opposite of that is when writers and studios try to wrong foot the audience or subvert expectations.
Yeah.
Which usually just produces something no one likes. Like Game of Thrones, famously, they were on Reddit, they were online looking at fan theories, and the fans had predicted what the ending should have been. And the creators were like, well, no, we want to surprise people, so we'll just subvert it into a truly bizarre ending that made no sense. Because really, if the audience is able to predict the ending, that probably means it's a good ending.
Yeah.
Because it probably means the story is going to a logical conclusion.
Yeah, all the pieces fit together, right?
Exactly. And I've never seen an instance where people predicted an ending online and then it was that ending and anyone was actually disappointed. People pat themselves on the back, but it usually means that was the correct ending.
Yeah, that said, we do love a twist. But I agree, if a story is like solid and makes sense and like lands the plane,
Yeah.
but you feel like, oh, well, it was obvious that that was going to happen, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't have twists. I guess it's more in terms of like character development or just, I don't know, identifying arcs, you know, because like a lot of movies reuse the same kind of ideas of growth and whatever, but there's nothing wrong with that. Because otherwise you don't have a movie. You know, if you look at like Obsession, which is this little indie film barely anyone's seen, but like Obsession doesn't like overtly subvert your expectations. You know, it has twists and turns, but everything feels quite logical.
I don't know, is Obsession a good example though? Because like, you couldn't really guess what was going to happen. It's not like a neat little story.
But it's not necessarily about being able to guess what's going to happen. It's about like Obsession sets up its rules very neatly and then follows those rules through.
Yeah.
It doesn't do some twist of like, and actually this was a dream. Actually, Nikki, when you saw her asleep halfway through the film, the rest of the film was actually her dream. And it's like...
But no one likes that, and everyone's over dream sequences. We've said this before. We're done with people having dreams.
I'm done with dream sequences and I'm done with drug sequences where they mount the camera to the front of the actor and put it fisheye and the actor's like walking through a place going, whoa.
What was that Billie Piper series where she took drugs and it was like the most insane drug scene we've ever watched? We were like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was like something Susie.
Yes, I hate Susie. Everyone
Yeah.
hates Susie. And that was like a mental drug sequence. And I was like, things like this just don't happen.
No, it was crazy. That was very like I May Destroy You coded, that series.
Yes, well...
Well, in the sense that I think it wanted to be I May
shade
Destroy
to
You.
I May Destroy You.
No. Shade to Susie, I'm afraid. I May Destroy You is near perfect.
Have we got is there anything left to say about the Odyssey? Because it has been thoroughly discussed here, there, and everywhere. We obviously saw it early and we were like telling the people it's a great film. It's brilliant. It's unbelievable. And everyone was like, we don't believe you. And then people saw it and people were like, we do believe them.
It is very funny when a very predictably good film is good.
Yeah, I mean, some people still don't like it, but I would say majority-wise, it has gone down very well.
And I think it's just incredible for cinema that the Odyssey has made more money than any other Nolan movie. It's made more money than Batman.
Wow.
Which is crazy. You know, and I like Batman a lot, but I think it's good for cinema that like something like this, something that's basically like homework, has done so well. It's cool. I think I like that Himesh Patel is getting his flowers. I think he's so good in that movie. Samantha Morton, I think he's getting an Oscar nom.
What do we think? Should we talk about Variety? A little bit shady from Variety. Listing, if you don't know, Variety put out an article where they listed the best to worst performances, which
In
is
the
like
Odyssey.
quite surprising.
Yeah.
Who signed that off?
So weird. Someone made the point as well, because I think they put Tom Holland like last,
Yes.
which is crazy. But someone made the point of like, why burn the bridge with like one of one of, if not like at this point, the world's biggest movie star, just to be shady for no reason online.
I guess, look, it cut through it. It got people talking about it, but it was a really strange thing to do. Like, you don't really these days have like actors like put up against each other of like who was better.
No, especially in a really ensemble film like
Yes.
that, where it's a real team effort. Also, I really want to defend Tom Holland's performance in that film because, first of all, I think it's a good performance.
Yes.
I also think you have to ask, like, what character are they playing and what things do they do? It's very much a supporting
Yes.
role. He's playing like a young guy. He's
Yeah.
playing it young.
Yeah. And when Anne Hathaway, I mean, she has got such big moments with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like, she is obviously going to kind of steal the scene, but it's not that he's doing a bad job, but she is like shouting and screaming at him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
obviously she is going to feel like she is doing more acting in
Yeah.
that moment, but that doesn't mean that like he's not stepping up to the plate.
There is often that thing where people think the best acting is the most acting.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
you're right. He's not given really any scenes where he has like some big grand monologue or big grand. He doesn't even have any like fight scenes or anything, right? He's just kind of in it.
He's just a guy.
He's just a little guy.
He's
He misses his dad.
He's just a normal man.
He's just normal man. He's just an innocent man. I think he's really good. Anne Hathaway is so good.
Anne Hathaway is amazing.
We were talking about Anne Hathaway in another movie that we might be embargoed for. So who knows which movie it is. But we were just saying, like, Anne Hathaway is so good at not overacting, but also not underacting. She will react appropriately.
At all times.
Because I think actors sometimes are so scared of being too much that they're not enough. She will give you enough.
Anne Hathaway, honestly, is like easily. I would watch Anne Hathaway in absolutely anything. I think she is like brilliant. I think she is captivating to watch. And you're so right. We came out of said movie. We're like, there's so many big moments where you could be too much. And Anne Hathaway is never too much.
Just keeps it
She's
in the line.
just perfect.
But also a similar situation where if you underplayed it, you'd be like, wow, that is not a very realistic reaction.
Yeah.
Look at all this stuff that's happening in whatever movie this is.
We're towing the line.
Someone said something to me the other day. They said, because we've done a fair amount of junket interviews, someone said, do you think you would be good at being interviewed because you've done so many interviews? And I actually think no. I think it's one of those things where if you swap the chairs around, my skills as they stand, would be reset to 0.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. I go in there thinking like these people have no idea what we are going to throw at them.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in like a junket room like the Odyssey, where you could be, they're going to get people, history fanatics and, people who know their stuff. And you are someone who, knows as much as you know, but there's a chance there's a gap in your knowledge. Like, I think about that a lot. Or, you're in a dinosaur movie and then someone's going to ask you about a very specific type of dinosaur you might not know about. Like, that's tough.
I can't think of any particular dinosaur movies that are coming out at the moment. It's so true. I mean, when we go into junkets, you see, like, people are always very warm, but you see a little guardedness in their eyes of like, what the hell is this stranger going to say to me?
Yeah.
And then usually we say our first question, they usually clap and cry and say, oh my God, you guys are masters. No, but like, and especially when we have a short interview, you notice them warming up, but it takes a minute to form any rapport or warm someone up.
Absolutely. And you never know, like people could throw personal stuff at them. I mean, we don't, but like you never know if you are in that chair, what someone is gonna, you see it a lot with Tom Holland and they always want him to talk about Zendaya.
Yeah.
I saw it a couple of times where people are like, if you were going to Greece, who would you bring? And it's like you are obviously wanting him to say my wife Zendaya, which he did do, but it's that thing of like, teeing someone up to like talk about their personal life, which they do sometimes, and some actors dodge it and some kind of just give them what they want.
It's very like primary school to be like, say Zendaya's name. It's like, we know they're married. Like, it's not that crazy.
But it's so hard because I'll watch every clip.
Yeah,
I will watch that is the thing, it will always do well.
It will. But it is, because they're famously a very private couple. And I think there was kind of an understanding going into like the Odyssey junkets, for example, of like, let's not ask them about their marriage. That's really not why we're all here. But people might still do it.
Of course, yeah.
It's
you
money
just
in
never
the
know.
bank. Yeah. And you're trapped in the room, so you're going to have to answer. But yeah, man. Also, you think of how many, like, I was thinking about, we interviewed Tom Holland and Matt Damon. How many thousands of interviews have they done? Like, they've probably done this same amount, which is crazy because Matt Damon's older, but Tom Holland has just been so famous.
Yeah.
But like, you've done so many interviews. You've probably been burned so many times. You must really have your guard up. Like, if I did one interview where someone was kind of mean to me, I'd be like, I'm never doing that again. Help.
I thought you were going to say when you started speaking this, like, because we also had someone ask us the other day, like, do you ever get interview fatigue? Do you ever get bored or just a bit over it?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because what we will do is we will stress so much, we will think so much about questions and the order, and we will go over and over and over things for a 4-minute slot, for a 5-minute slot. And like, so actually collectively we've done so many interviews, but if you collected all that time, it's no time at all.
Yeah. Someone said, do you ever get sick of doing it? And it's like, first of all, no, because it's fun.
It's great. It's always different.
It's always different because it's different people, different projects. But also, yeah, like you say, like we're in there for such a short time.
Such a short amount of time. It's so crazy for like so much, because it's pretty high pressure. It's not, heart surgery, but it's a high pressure environment. There's a lot of people in the room. You have 4 minutes to ask a question and hope that the question lands and you get a response that is kind of what you need. And it's so crazy that it's this time pressure for something that is over within 4 minutes. I sometimes think that when you like are flicking through like the TV and it's someone's doing like the Commonwealth Games, they're like swimming or doing whatever they do there. And it's like, that's the biggest moment of that person's life. And like, I didn't even watch it. Like I didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's so true. Which I think is actually quite good to keep in mind. It's good to have that perspective sometimes of like,
this is the biggest moment. Like you've just won gold or you've just lost miserably. But like, I had no idea this was happening, and like I'll flick on and then sometimes I'll flick off because I'm not even that bothered.
I want to shout out Georgia Bell, runner, who went to my primary school.
Who's a good runner.
She was, and I say this to people and they always laugh like it's a joke, but she was running even in like year 1. That was always her thing. She's running and running.
She loved to run.
She was so fast, and now she's like a national hero. It's so cool. Something I have learned between people who are more experienced and less experienced is that the people who have been interviewed loads of times, they'll just give you a story. If you ask them a question, they don't have an answer to it, which is perfectly valid. They'll be like, well, I don't know about that, but hey, here's some gold. Or they might just decide that they want to answer a different question. But to be honest, we don't really care. We just want material.
We just want gold. That's all we want.
We just want gold, yeah. So if we say to you, like, do you have a favorite color? And they're like, no, but the other day something really funny happened to me. I'm like, I'm not mad about this.
Yeah.
But what I'm mad about is when you go, do you have a favorite color? And they go, no.
No.
I've never seen a color.
No, full stop.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen.
That doesn't
to
really
us.
happen, but I think that's good advice for life.
Yes.
If in
yes,
doubt.
and.
Yes, and. It's improv, isn't it?
Well, improv is dead now because obviously Live at the Apollo's done.
Was there any improv at Live at the Apollo?
Was there not?
Someone give me a location.
Did they never do crowd work at the start? But do you think it was all like
It's probably
pre-planned?
all highly prepared, yeah.
What, you were a seated plant.
It's like when they used to do Mock the Week and everyone had writers on set with them and it was all like carefully orchestrated.
But it seemed so
I know.
off the cuff.
But it's crazy to think, there was that bit where they would be like, we're going to put topics on screen and you just walk out and say something. And everyone had a perfect like 3-minute set.
Yeah.
And like the idea is that these people are just improving these like tightly written.
They were so good as well, some of them.
Yeah, but it's because they were writing them like weeks in advance. Which I think doesn't invalidate it.
No, but that is a thing people like.
People like that about comedy, especially stand-up comedy, is thinking or at least sort of pretending that it's all spontaneous.
Yeah.
Even though we all know it's not.
I've been to a comedy show twice.
All right, brag about it, gee. Once visiting, once performing? Or?
No, but it's like gives you the ick a bit when it's like someone like pretending to forget, like forget something and then remember it and you've seen it before and you're like,
Oh, they're like, actually, that reminds me.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no.
Oh, no, it was all a ruse.
Well, you watched me do my show 11 times in a row.
Yes.
So that was probably a bit. When I was going on about, I had that bit about the woke media.
Yes.
And you're like, I've seen it before. I did want to say one thing more about Spider-Man, because obviously it looks great. Great looking movie.
Can I just say, great time to do it now versus when we were talking about Spider-Man 15 minutes ago.
Okay, well, we can just wrap the episode. I'm doing what good celebrities do, which is that I'm just giving you some gold.
You're doing a callback, which you learned Live at the Apollo.
Yeah, and just because you can recognise that mechanism doesn't invalidate it. Thank you, Ben. People are talking about how good this new Spider-Man movie looks, which it does, and it's reminding everyone how good the movie Madam Web looked. Weirdly, one of the best-looking superhero films maybe ever. Also, one of the rare superhero films or films full stop filmed in New York. They're on the streets of New York in Madam Web.
They got some budget.
Which is really expensive to do. And look, it's not a good movie. But it's bad in an interesting way. And I interviewed Dakota Johnson back in the day, and she was very funny about it because she clearly, we spoke about this recently in a video where actors, they sign on to one thing.
And then, yeah, Madam Web was one of the example used in our comments, basically saying like she was told, she signed on to a completely different project.
She was told basically it was going to be in the MCU, right?
Yes. And like, yeah, she thought she was going to, yeah, it was a very different.
You know how that meeting went, where they went like, yeah, it's like a Marvel character. So she's like, so I'll be in the MCU. They'll be like, yeah, you're going to be in Marvel film.
Yeah.
And they're like, the MCU. And they're like, yeah, it's like a Marvel film. They obviously did some really sneaky language to trick her.
If Madam Web had been a huge success, would we have seen like Madam Web?
There's a really weird thing where Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man and associated characters. So Sony collaborates with Marvel on the Spider-Man films because Spider-Man's such a big character. I guess if Madam Web was a huge hit, they probably would have brought it into the MCU, but it was technically separate.
Right. Yeah, but if everyone, you know, the people yearn for the web.
I'd argue people are yearning for...
Also, Madam Web would have made so much sense for a crossover with Spider-Man. She's got webs.
Madam Web, flip one of them around. Wicked Witch.
Does she have any? She has no powers.
I you know what? I've seen that movie and I couldn't tell you what her power. It's kind of got mind powers or something. There's also the weird thing about that film is it's mostly about a older woman sort of mentoring these young teen girls. And if they just made that the movie and got rid of all the superhero elements, it'd almost be better. But I remember listening to an interview with the director of that film, and she was quite candid as well of being like, yeah, this was an entirely different movie when we started.
Yeah.
And I think even in the edit, because the villain of the film is entirely ADR'd, where not a single line is coming out of his mouth.
Wow.
Where even sometimes when he's on screen, you can tell he's saying different words. Or, you know, the classic like back of the head where the mouth is not moving.
Yeah, classic.
So God knows what that character even was.
The other comment that came up was saying like a comedy film, when you sign up for it, it's really hard to know if the comedy will translate. And that's another great example of like signing onto a comedy project is it usually, or a film is usually a huge risk because they just can completely not land the plane with comedy.
They use the phrase, it read funny, right?
It read funny.
Because the jokes can be funny on the page. It's so interesting with comedy. There was a story about Mike Myers when he was making Austin Powers, and he basically, they had a director, but he basically took over the direction. Apparently he was like such a prima donna of like, he would storm off set if they weren't doing the shots correctly or whatever, because he had such an idea of how it works. And I'd argue he was correct, but he has all these ideas about a shot needs to linger for this long after a joke. You cannot be looking at another character while another person's making a joke. He has all these theories about the rhythm of comedy. And if you watch what I would argue is a perfect movie, Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, it is right. Whereas when you look at a bad comedy movie, sometimes the jokes are good, but it's just cut to ribbons and it's not working.
It misses the beats, the comedic beats.
Anyway, we're all getting distracted by the cat, which is probably a good sign that we should wrap up the show. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Benedict Townsend.
I'm Hannah Townsend.
And like we said, we will have 2 episodes a week coming very soon. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow the show.
Bye.
Bye.